Testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Let's go. I think everything has loaded up, so I'm gonna go ahead and crack the usual. Unfortunately, the podcast is not sponsored by Monster, which is very disappointing. So you're working on just getting myself set up. I think the microphone might have been a bit too loud there. I was trying to test it. Hopefully it's not coming through too loud now. That should have changed it a bit. Um, Working on some Adeptus Mechanicus. So we have some Electro Priests with staffs, and hopefully some Cerberus Raiders, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get through these or not. Did have a slight mishap where this fella ended up under the couch. As you can see, all the dust that's on him, and his arm is still there. I thought I got it. Turned out to just be a random piece of sprue. So we might be painting him without an arm if we get to it tonight. I am using the Brush Rage app, which I've already set. So it's on the Mechanicus painting, not on the Cataphren specifically, just Mechanicus. So yeah, that's 185 hours into this Mechanicus army at the minute. So I've got my wet palette. I did get some base layers and stuff done on these recently, and we're gonna hopefully get these done tonight anyway. Also, I do have an ornithopter of some sort. I'm not sure which loadout this is. It's also pretty dusty because it's been sitting waiting to be painted when I was painting the other stuff. I was trying to slog through the infantry so that it'd be done and I wouldn't have to think about infantry and I can enjoy painting vehicles. Small repairs need to be done. Just a gun came off here and a fin came off the leg of the ornithopter. So this is one of the Scorpius models. I think this one is the tank version, not the transport, or maybe they're both transports. Don't know anything about Mechanicus. All I know is I got base layers down, and there's going to be a lot of work in getting these guys painted up, but they'll have to be dusted down first anyway. Not planning on getting to them tonight, so. Scheme wise, what I've been doing consistently with the army is airbrushing a layer of mortifying brown over everything because I'm painting metal, and if I don't get the metal into certain areas, I want to make sure that it's kind of like, the metal's a bit worn or there's a bit of dirt and grime kind of in the recesses, just in case I miss with the metal coverage normally. The colour I'm using is Army Painter Plate Mail Metal. It's normally pretty good, but just to make sure. And a lot of cloth and stuff is red, so I use brown as an undercoat for it, so it's pretty consistent colour scheme throughout. Right, I'm gonna see if I can play some music in the background in case I'm talking to myself. Yeah, okay. I think it's connected to my headset microphone. USB microphone's not working. I might have to look into that another stage. There's no point in waiting around. I'll just get to painting. So base colors. Normally, what I do is it's the normal dark red that I use for painting blood angels, painting Tau, painting everything. That color is Scarlet Red from Game Color. I was definitely going to say Blood Angels Red or something. So what I do is, depending on the model, didn't go with the brown on the big vehicles because obviously it's red. A lot of the red on this stuff is brushed on once the brown goes on, or it looks like I actually didn't bother on these ones. I was just listening to myself talk absolute crap there in the background to make sure that the audio is working. So I'll throw a bit of this on the palette. You can see there's a good bit over there. I'll paint the red onto cloth, any of the armor sections. So if I pull these over, there's a box of stuff here that I have been working on. So that's, I was going to say Cataphren. I'm pretty sure this is a Castellan robot. So the armor on these guys, brown, and then I just hit them with the red over it. And then when I got the likes of these guys here, which is the Citari or the Taxiari or something along them lines, the red on these is just brushed on. Because everything, especially the wings, the base coat for the wings was mortifying. So depends on the model really. Same with these guys here, Rust Stalkers or Sakaran Iron Striders. It's one or the other. I can't remember. Brown mostly, and then I just painted on the red because the armor sections on these guys is actually tiny. So moving on. Anyway, we'll get started. So for the skin, I normally use Imperial Blue from Vallejo, and then I'll highlight up through, I think it's Sotek Green, that's Caldor, and Baharot Blue. But I need to finish base coating the model first. I need to do metals next, which will be plate mail, and I use Army Painter Weapon Bronze for the other sections of the weapons. I just like the Army Painter metallics and good coverage, they're cheap, so I'm just going to adjust this headset here for a second. Just with me having me glasses on, my headset, might have to adjust it a few times throughout. Might have to swap the palette out in a few minutes. It's pretty full. Haven't painted now in I'd say maybe a week and a half. I've just been building stuff in the background for Shatterpoint for myself. I wanted to try out Mace Windu and the clones that come in his box. I think it's called the Party's Over box. It's Commander Pawns, two ARF troopers, and Mace Windu. Don't know why I drew a blank on Mace Windu, but I've built out of the core box. I've built Bo-Katan's Clan Kreese Mandalorians. I've built Anakin. I've built Ahsoka. I got Padawan Ahsoka. Um, I think I might have built Gar Saxon, one of the other Mandalorians. That could be it. And then I have the Obi-Wan Kenobi box, which is Obi-Wan, Cody, and two 12 troopers. So, being a die-hard Clone Wars fan, I'm kind of sticking to Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, bought Mace Windu because why not, really? All that was left in the shop at the time was Mace Windu because stuff's coming in the minute it's coming out, like it's just selling out. So I picked up Mace Windu, ordered, I think it's the plans and preparation box, which has Barriss, Offrey, General Luminara, and you get the two clone commandos in it. And the reason I want the clone commandos is I grew up playing Republic Commando and I have it on the Switch, so I was playing it recently as well. The only downfall is you can only have two clone commandos. You can't take four, which would be really cool because then you can paint the whole squad for Delta Squad. So I got Mace Windu. So this is how good Shatterpoint models are. Mace Windu, Commander Pawns, and two Troopers took me, I think, 20-25 minutes to paint in total, which I thought was really good. So got them built the other night, and then it was just 5 or 10 minutes just magnetizing the bases because I have like a plastic storage box with a flat sheet of magnetic paper or magnetic sheet in it, and then just two. I think they're 2x1 magnets or 3x2 magnets I bought. I thought I was buying thicker ones than that, so I need two per model to keep them secure on the base. So got them done. I think all in 30 minutes had them magnetized and in the case to go to play a game, like, so I think it was alright, like. And then 40k wise, I actually got a suggestion from Instagram to post a reel today, and the reel was uh, my post from 3 or 4 years ago. It'll be 2020, so nearly 4 years ago now. And the post was two halves of the Indomitus release box that I painted, which is kind of sad because I painted. So me and one of the lads went. Obviously, ninth edition's dropping, big starter box. I have lots. I have a Space Shark army and Blood Angels army, and now I have a Blood Angels Horsehairs army as well. But that's not the point. Plan was I would get his side of the Indominus box set for painting the Necron side. So basically, I have two sets of Indominus Marines, and I'd say another half a set or a full set with extras from the Imperium magazine subscription. And I have the one from before that, which was something else. I can't even remember what it was called now. It was basically the Hachette Patchworks subscription service magazine. You'd pay like, I think if you pay like 40 quid a month, you get 4 issues. That could be like, I think some of the stuff in the last one was like land speeders, and you got a repulsor was the big model. This time around, I paid for the premium sub, which got me a box of Tau, box of Chaos, box of Orcs. I think Tyranids is just not warriors. Sadly, the old Termagants, the new ones weren't out at the time. So 3 years ago, I finished painting both sides of the Indominus box, and I haven't even. I don't think I've even fully painted one half of my Indominus stuff from that original boxes. Never mind the additional stuff I've accrued over time. Like, I think just looking around me here, I should tell you how bad it is. I've got a box of Tardaros Terminators in box. I have a full Age of Darkness box I need to paint. Dark Strider, the new Shadow Sun, Storm Surge, Sikaran, a Vindicator, not a Vindicator, a Whirlwind, Jet Bikes, a Rhino. That's just Horse Heresy stuff offhand. That's not including all the magazine stuff that's up here, the magazine stuff that's downstairs. Um, it, it's referred to as a cancer in the house because it just keeps spreading and taking over new spaces. And then I went and got a 3D printer, so haven't set that up yet. And my desk here is actually pretty tight for space. I was going to see if I could get it set up in here. I do have another desk behind me, but it's got my Age of Darkness stuff that I haven't finished. It's got a rock grinder, uh, two Leviathans, another Dreadnought, Contemptor, Terrain. There's a Storm Eagle. There's a Tower Titan. I don't have space to set up a 3D printer up here as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and just like I'd say if I could paint for 24 hours a day for the next 3 years, I might actually clear the backlog if I don't end up purchasing or coming into possession of anything else to paint. So in an effort to try and make yourself more accountable for painting, I started to try and get back into getting content and stuff out. It's just when you're trying to do an army build, it's hard to record like a full kind of army project build because like the first batch of mechanicus I sent back, so building and painting and whatever, I think there was 90 something models in it. That racked up most of that mechanicus hour stuff. So I think about 185 hours now. A lot of that would have actually come from the original batch, I suppose, that was sent back to the client. And then I have another batch here. So you've got 4 Castellan robots. You've got, yeah, Castellans. I had to double check myself there. Not Catafrons. You've got 4 Castellan robots. You've got 2 units of the fly guys. You've got a tank, an ornithopter, another squad of the rust stalkers or whatever they're called, and then not like finished like that, not including the priests, the horses. Um, there's still to start collecting boxes to get through as well. So there's still a lot of infantry to slog through. But I think I sent back 40 or 50 infantry in the last batch. That was the worst chunk of it. And the ones that were putting me off the most were the flying guys because of the wings and trying to build up the smooth layers of bone to try and make them look like the box art. That was quite the struggle and resulted in many layers. So that it all takes time, like I don't want to be just doing a rush job. Don't have, I think I was gonna say I don't have any speed paint. That's a lie. I have one pot of, I want to say Carbon Crimson, but I think that's the wash. It's Ball Red or Flesh Tears Red or something like that. And the whole reason I got it was to try and thin it down and use for painting Leviathan nids. So I painted a full box of Leviathan in a good chunk of hours, um, for the same group. So that took up a lot of time. Now, don't get me wrong, the Leviathan models were great to paint, but I think I may need to look at the standard of me painting because I was putting way too much time into painting. Uh, I think painting gaunts took me 20 hours to paint. What you get in the box, like 20 gaunts or something like that. That's rough. And I was really dragging it out. So painting the gaunts absolutely killed me. Done the Tyranids first because there was no way I was going to do the nids, have a good time. Now, obviously, I was painting Smurfs, so it's as good a time as you can get painting Ultra Smurfs, but I'm glad I done it the way I did and painting the nids before I went on to paint the Marines. Like painting the Dreadnought and stuff, the characters, like the Terminators, they're all great models. Not that the nids aren't great models, but it's a lot easier to paint flat power armor plate than it is to paint organic matter for me. So, though, probably the worst part was washing down the flesh color and then trying to highlight back up and painting hundreds of thousands of lines of different colors to give the armor the striations. But after that, then it was kind of like, that's it, we're done. Okay, onto the Marines. And then when I was handing them off myself and the guy I was painting them for, I had a quick game. It's my first. I think I've only played 2 games of 10th edition now. One of them was a Crusade game, and one of them was kind of just tooling about with what comes in the Leviathan box and trying to figure out like how certain rules work. And they don't really give you a lot in the Leviathan box for the rules of the stuff, so you're kind of flicking back and forth through the app and trying to figure out like, oh, what does lethal hits do, or why do I need to attach this guy here to benefit from the apothecary biologist gives lethal hits to the units he's with, and there's just a lot to learn in a short space of time when my whole hobby focus was on painting models leading up to handing them back. Same with Shatterpoint. Painted a squad or two for a guy. Done a few demo games of it. Oh, sorry, done one demo game and haven't stopped playing it every week since. And it's not an addiction. I haven't fully read the rules, so like when I'm playing the game, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then I read the rule, I'm like, no, we've been playing that totally wrong. Like I was playing it with that if you, depending on the damage you do, like if you get far enough down your damage track or chart, whatever you want to call it, you can trigger these things called conditions. So one of them might be like you're pinned or you're exposed or you're disarmed, so you can't use your weapon for a turn or something like just a rough synopsis. But like if you stack them, they actually do additional damage, which I wasn't doing. So it's kind of interesting when you do actually read the rules. Similar enough to that, played a game of 40k 10th edition Crusade game. Played Blood Angels into Drukhari, and Drukhari I've just not had a good experience with. Now I'm not playing 40k regularly, just with the change in edition and stuff. I was big into Heresy there for a while. There was a couple of Heresy events back to back, so like you could book the Saturday to go and play games, and you were getting 3 games of Heresy in a day, whereas if it's a normal day, you're only getting 1 game in a 40k. So haven't really played too much 40k. Like I don't think, and this is it's actually sad and heartbreaking that I don't think I played 1 game of 9th edition Gene Stealer Cult at all. Played a couple with Blood Angels, maybe 1 or 2 with Space Sharks, but after that I barely used the Tau as well. And I've so much Tau stuff. Like I've Riptides, I've Ghost Kills, Hammerheads. A lot of stuff now is actually unpainted that I got years ago because I've just been painting Marine. So like I have a pretty decent sized Carcharodon force. I think the only thing I haven't painted in it is the repulsor I got from the Imperial magazine. I can't think of what the other one was called. And haven't played them, I'd say, since the start of 9th edition. I think I painted them kind of as a, oh, it's a new edition, I'll paint a new army. I got the Idonet Deepkin Start Collecting box, chopped up a lot of the weapons and armor and stuff, and added it onto the Space Marines to try and make them more Atlantic shark looking. And then painted loads of freehand and stuff onto them. That took ages painting them. Got I've a Redemptor Dreadnought for them, a Land Speeder, an attack bike, which doesn't matter anymore. Normal bike, and I think it's an ironclad from what I can look at. But like I painted freehand onto all of them, and like shark symbols and all the shoulder pads and stuff. So there was a lot of time went into them, and they're just sitting over there, haven't used them. So I do want to try and get back into playing more 40k because 10th edition seems to be a bit more streamlined and stuff. Seeing a lot of memes about Battleshock not actually being that big of a deal at the minute, so didn't fully understand the importance of Battleshock when I was playing. It just felt like, okay, you take a Battleshock, you take a Battleshock, no big deal. But it does matter when it comes to not being able to secure objectives and stuff. Crusade game we played was very interesting because the Space Marines, like, I was say it was a squad of 5 and I lost like a guy, and then the next turn I lost a guy. So it's not too hard to kind of pass the Battleshock test, but it was a tough game. I lost almost everything. I think in the end of the game, I think I might have had 1 or 2 models standing, and that might have been a tactical sergeant and a tactical marine with a heavy bolter. I think is what I had at the end of the game. I recorded it as footage for a bat rep. Haven't started editing it yet. The plan is to edit it up and post it up a little bit different, trying to edit a battle report to a normal video, especially when you haven't really done it before and it's a Crusade game. So it's like, do I include like the lists and where we spent our requisition points and who took battle scars and who didn't, who progressed or who got MVP and stuff like that. There is a lot of housekeeping that goes with playing Crusade. So I know, I think it was the last time we played Crusade was 9th edition as well. I only got a couple of games in, but I was taking assault intercessors, but I was given the sergeant a thunderhammer, and I think he done amazing in the last one as well. He's just running around blowing stuff up with the thunderhammer, and he done pretty well this in the first game. So I did spend some requisition points to increase it to a 10-man squad. Added a few weapon upgrades don't cost that now, so it's great. Added the Thunderhammer because he didn't have the Thunderhammer originally. He just had chainsaws. So I forgot to add it to him when I was building the list. So when I printed the list off, didn't have it, and rolled with it. He has the Thunder Hammer now, so paid a requisition point to upgrade his war gear, upgraded his squad, upgraded the army's overall points. Um, I think I had a death company unit, and they took a battle scar, if I'm not mistaken. So having to flick through some stuff in the background, I think I'm able to spend another requisition point to actually clear them, which is good. So there was something else I think I might add it. I think I had a Battle Predator, and I can't remember what the list was, but I increased it from like 1500 to 2000 or something just to try and squeeze some more stuff in. Might have put in the Blood Angels Assault Terminators. So with me having the Blood Angel Assault Terminator sprue, I have enough Blood Angel specific arms and stuff to turn the Leviathan box set Tyranids into Blood Angel specific Tyranids, which is definitely what I'm going to do. I've seen someone do it online. It was only a matter of time. Like I wasn't going to be the only one to have this idea, but they look pretty sick. So I'm looking forward to getting them done. But again, Leviathan is on the long finger for me. I have a Shatterpoint tournament coming up in Gamers World on the 30th of December. No, October. Being run by the same guy that run the Horus Heresy events for us, and like they were pretty decent events. Like you were getting mission packs printed in binders, and you had map layouts and objective layouts, and there was lore for every mission that he'd done up himself. Like it was really good events. Missed the last part of the narrative campaign we were playing. I played two of the events out of three. One of them was a 2 dayer. Um, Took down a warhound in one of the games. Ralderon killed Abaddon, which was quite a nice feeling. I got three or four best, or not best painted, but I got three or four painting awards for some of my models. Ralderon was one of them. I think the Crimson Paladins got me another one. I got 4 or 5 things, and I only realised recently I never posted about it, which was kind of stupid of me. I was looking for brushes the other day, so the prize for the painting competition for that was we got a set of, I think they're Kalinsky Sable, but they're the Green Stuff World's own branded ones. Really nice brushes, but I've been afraid to open them because they're like a special set, and I got them for as a prize for painting. So kind of only wanted to use them on character projects or big projects or something, but I've just been using my beat stick army painter and Games Workshop brushes to get through stuff instead. Yeah, so for Shatterpoint, I think I've semi painted maybe 4 clones. That's Rex, Cody, so maybe 6 clones in total have paint on them. Anakin got like black painted on his boots or something. Not much else done. So I'm gonna need to be fully painted for that. I just don't know what my list is gonna be, so it's not ideal. And I'm not sure fully what size games we're playing. So depending on that, will depend on what I get played. If it's only one squad, I'll probably just play Anakin and Rex and the 504st. The 504st are nearly done, just a bit of touching up and then bases they'll be doing. Like get away with that then, for a tournament. So it's not too bad. But if it's anything more than that, I'll be a bit tight for time. I have a lot of Necron stuff to do for the same guy I'm doing the mechanicus for. After that Age Darkness box, I've Blood Angels Army in, I've Necron stuff in, I've Marvel stuff in, so my stuff's kind of on the back burner. So I'm trying to utilize my time when I'm doing other people's stuff and actually make content with it to show how I go about painting projects, thought process behind it. Like when I sit down and look at a model, I'm like looking at, say, the Games Workshop color scheme, and I'm like, right, I don't have that color, but this is what I have close enough that'll make it work. Excuse me. So I pretty much just had a rough look at the mechanicus scene when I was starting to paint them, and I was like, right, they're mostly red, and there's a lot of metallics. Don't want to be spraying them silver because then when you're trying to paint the red over it, it's a lot harder to do. So that's when I come up with the plan of just paint it all brown, and then it's easier for the red to go on, and it's easier for the metals to go on over that. So that's why we ended up with that. Um, Horus Heresy wise, I do want to play it more. It's quite a good game. Put a lot of time and effort into it. Have a good sized army built for it. Like I have loads of tanks. I probably have more tanks with Horus Heresy than I'll ever need for as a Space Marine player. But you can't really run the tank only Legion kind of detachment because your Blood Angels, you don't want your tanks to be getting an extra wound in combat for charging someone. You want your units getting that. So I don't really. I think it's Armored Spearhead is the detachment name. Tried going about doing it. And it's like, what do you make your Warlord then? Do you make it a Land Raider? Do you make it a Spartan? Do you make it a Sicaran? Do you make it, a Predator or Whirlwind sitting out the back? It's hard to know, especially because I've so many Blood Angels units. I've the Crimson Paladins, I've the Dawnbreaker cohorts. I have their 3D models because Games Workshop don't do a 3D model for a 3D model. Of course they don't. Games Workshop don't have a model to paint to play. It's an Angels tier, but they come with grenade launchers. Okay, whatever. They're rag grenade launchers. But the other option that's in the rules is for them to have the Illustrious Assault Cannon, which is way better because it runs on a 6+, and you get sixes. I think they're 3 or 4 shots a pop, and you can have a squad of 5 to 10 with Illustrious Assault Cannons, and they have jump backs, so they're literally just flying up in the building, spraying down, getting rends, killing stuff, and then you can move them off again. So when you're playing Blood Angels, it's hard to not take stuff like that. The Crimson Paladins are really good. I played them absolutely terribly. Didn't fully read the rules, so I wasn't using like. Depending on the state of the army at the time, they can get like a feel no pain, and they can get buffs and stuff because your army's lost so many units. It's basically like a mini red rage or black rage without being too counterproductive to your army. Like they don't just go rambling into people screaming. So I read we were like finishing up the tournament and like there's 1 or 2 games still coming to an end. I was reading through me Battle Squad list and I read it and I was like, man, I could have won so much more combats with that and taken out so many more units. One of the biggest problems for the Crimson Paladins is they come with an Illustrious Assault Cannon. Okay, that's great, but you're running them with the Sunset Blades. Or the way I run them is with the Sunset Blades because they have Sunder, um, Storm Shield, the Corolius Storm Shields because I think you get -1 wound or something on it or -1 damage. I can't remember what it is. It's been a while since I played Horus Heresy. Uh, the Crimson Paladin Exemplar is running with some kind of power spear, power lance, or something. I think it's called. And then you have just the guy with a sunset blade and an Illustrious Assault Cannon. So one of my biggest issues was coming up against the Iron Warriors. I think they're Siege Tyrants or something they're called. They're like the Iron Warrior specific Terminator unit. Very, very hard to get rid of, and they absolutely obliterate. I had some really good games of Horus Heresy, made some really good friends and opponents. So one of the lads posts a lot of his Dark Angel stuff, and he has like, he's 30 something thousand points of Dark Angels or something. And he was posting stuff the other day, and I commented on it saying like, "Oh, it looks great" or whatever. And he was like, "We should have a game." And I'm like, "Yeah, we should." Haven't played Horus Heresy in a while. Never mind the fact that I'm trying to learn how to play Shatterpoint and 10th edition. Let's just go back to something that we're familiar with and play a game of Horus Heresy. And I was like, "Right, okay, I want to play Horus Heresy. What do I need to do for that?" I was like, "Right, I need to finish this squad. I want to add more Terminators. I have conversion bits to make apothecaries, so I don't have apothecaries." And I was like, "This is just a rabbit hole that I keep feeding into every couple of weeks." So like, got the Spartan in the Age of Darkness box. Now, I never thought I'd have plastic Spartan to start with because the resin ones are too expensive. Then I have a Cerberus. Then I have a Typhon. I have a Sicaran. I this, this is what's built. I have an unbuilt Sicaran. Then I have a Sicaran Venerator. Then I have 2 Predators. So the normal and the support Predator because they just have different weapons. There's another tank I have. Oh, could be another Rhino or something. No, the Whirlwind. Have the Whirlwind not built. So like, I'm like, oh, I want to try this because it's a new unit. I haven't played with it before. But then it's like, oh, I want to take um, Crimson Paladins and Crimson Paladins and Dawnbreakers and Angel's Tears, and I want to play with Zephon, I want to play with Raldoron, and I want to use, it's just it's something you need to be playing regularly to try and get use out of all your models. And like my Gene Steel Occult Army, it's not even finished. It's still sitting over there from when I tried to paint it in a 24-hour stream, like twice and nearly died. Second time I done it. So first time I done it, I think I got like 18 or 20 hours or something. I was bamboozled at the end of it. I don't even know how I was still painting. I think if I go back and watch it now, I'd actually have some laugh at me just absolutely rambling. I think I was falling asleep on camera, on stream, like so. I still have like a Ridge Runner. I think I have two Keller Morphs, maybe one or two characters. No, I have a Ridge Runner and a Rock Grinder to build. I don't even know. Like, there's so much stuff there for that. But I just haven't had the chance to get around to it. Now, what's good for Crusade games is like when it didn't last very long because I went to Paris after it. The excitement of flying away and stuff like that took over. I had the motivation to get home and like convert up the assault intercessor sergeant for taking out like loads of stuff and characters and archons and all this other jazz. Like Crusade games are great for getting you motivated to actually get your army painted and convert up models and stuff. But like once if you don't capitalize on that when it's there, like it's gone. So instead, I put time into painting, and I've been building a lot of stuff in the background. Like I'm building models on my lunch breaks at work, just to try and get them built so I can get to painting them. Going back through my camera roll, trying to delete photos and stupid TikToks that I download to try and free up space. And I'm looking at projects that I've done that I've no video footage of and I've no pictures of because I might have only had one or two on my phone because the other ones never saved because they were the memory is full or something. Like a couple of years ago, I think the January of 2020, I painted a massive demon army, bloodthirsters. I think there was three bloodthirsters in it. Archon on the big three-headed dragon thing. Like I painted loads of stuff, no evidence of it. Painted loads of buildings, 3D printed buildings for Marvel Crisis Protocol, no evidence other than the fact that I see them when I go and play in that guy's house now because they're there. But it's like the stuff that I could have done with that, like just to show, like, look, I well, that sounds a bit obnoxious, just to show that, like, because if I go back through the Instagram feed now, like I'm getting pictures of armies I painted 3 or 4 years ago. And it's like, oh, I remember playing that, or I remember painting that, and then when it comes to the other stuff, it's like I've wasted an opportunity here to look back on that and go, yeah, I remember painting that. Unless it comes up or in conversation or I see it and I'm like, wait, I definitely painted one of them before. Just want to get a bit better at documenting what I'm doing because looking at some of the buildings I painted say 3 years ago compared to some of the stuff that I'm doing now, it's like, Jesus, that's a big difference. So I don't always get to keep the models that I paint. This is going to explode all over me in a minute. I just know it. Yeah, okay. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting bronze paint to spray all over. Once I get finished this batch of mechanicus, I think I have another 3 squads of the Skitari guys to paint. 2 units of Cataphren destroyers, the servitors with massive tracks for legs, and 2 Dune Crawlers, and I have one more of them Scorpius hovercrafts, and then that's the Mechanicus finished. So there's not too much left in it. It's just there's so much stuff that I actually want to do. I have a Tau Titan. Got it built. It took ages to build it, filling gaps and stuff like that. Also have a Tau Manta. Now it's a 3D printed one. Someone had the file. They said if you paint some models, I'll print this for you. I said cool, no problem. I'd still love to buy the actual Manta one day and go through the rigmarole of trying to repair it and get it up to a standard that you could actually glue it together and paint it and have the full army in the boot with like the crisis suits, the fire warriors, the ethereals, the tanks. I'd love to do all that, but I don't have 2 grand sitting around to just blow on a model. If I did, it definitely wouldn't be on a Manta because I'd be buying loads of Space Marine stuff and some of the new battlesuits for town, like the broadside battlesuit. I'm using the old, like just a little bit bigger than a crisis suit because you just added on some metal plates, battlesuits. I have I have a Yavara as well, but it's not been built. So I do have a lot of stuff there to work on. I just need to actually get to it. But yeah, time. It's all down to time. So at least if I set time aside to do this, it's like, right, I actually have to paint now because I said I'm going to do this. So if I set time aside and said, right, today you're working on Tau, and then I'd know, right, okay, I have this, I'm going to work on Tau for this stream. So I need to make sure that I have something to actually work on. Just to put a bit more ownership onto actually getting the stuff done. I'm always afraid to bring my Tau around now. Look, I've moved maybe 3 or 4 times since I last played the Tau, so they're just thrown in a box. But with Shatterpoint, what everyone's doing is just magnetizing the models to magnetic sheets and sticking them in plastic, like storage boxes, small ones, like A4 size. They're only like you could probably fit this guy in it on the stand. That's the full height of it. Like, so I got a few deeper ones, and what I'm gonna try and do is magnetize because I have 2 Riptides. I have a Ghost Keel, then I have the Yavara Riptide, which is the 4-year-old one. I have loads of tanks and stuff like all the Horus Heresy tanks. Like the Spartan is a pretty chunky boy. I'm just gonna start buying storage boxes and magnetizing them to it. So much better. Um, trying to bring what's for Horus Heresy. I was bringing a Spartan. I was bringing a Rhino, a Sakaran. Then I had a Land Raider Proteus. You had the 2 Predators. Like that's a lot of space just for tanks and then infantry on top of it because your normal game of 30k is 3,000 points. So trying to put all that into a phone case, like it's tough work. And the other thing I had in the list was Kratos, which is as big as a Spartan but maybe a bit wider. And I didn't magnetize, obviously stupid with excitement at the start of the release of all the new Horus Heresy stuff. I didn't magnetize the Dozer blade, which is like it's like a rhino on its side. It's that big, so that takes up a lot of space as well. And that's not including flyers or anything that I haven't got around to doing yet. So I have the Storm Eagle. It's built, broke a wing off it. Just need to fix the wing and actually get the paint. So there's a lot of stuff there to get to working on. Haven't built the terrain for the Shatterpoint box yet, and I'm debating on how I want to paint it. Like I've seen people painting it like it's on different planets. So on the box art, it looks like it's on Tatooine, which is kind of like a deserty scheme. But if you've watched the Clone Wars, there's loads of different episodes based on Coruscant, and it's all kind of like grey industrial buildings or multicolours from like rave kind of underground bars and stuff like that. I'd love to be able to do something like that to it, but I'm not sure how I'd go about actually doing it, because depending on how I paint it, I want to paint the bases on my guys to match it, because Star Wars Shatterpoint has like 4 bases that come with every kit, so it's the same bases throughout. Um, not 100% sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but I would like to do it like in the bar. I think it's episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Anakin and Obi-Wan are in the bar, and it's like all mad colours and stuff. It's neon. It's in like a vibe that I like, but it's just going about painting it or how to paint it is kind of where I'm struggling. And like I've seen different build methods for doing it. Some people are putting the plastic terrain onto like balsa wood or like upside down cork placemats, and adding like gravel and stuff like that, make it more immersive, which is great. But I don't know how I want to paint it. So I don't know what I'm going to do on the base or how I want the base, or do I want the base it? Do I want to cut it to just fit the frame of the model, or do I want to have it like an area of terrain? I think I just make more work for myself by doing that. But either way, painting the Shatterpoint terrain, I'm looking forward to it because just use the airbrush and like get glowing effects everywhere. Like on the bases, there's like score marks somewhere. You'd see it if you were watching the show or the cartoons or anything like that. It's kind of like the lightsaber has cut the ground and it's like a mark on the ground, but the sides of it are like glowing red hot because the lightsaber obviously is cut through it. So I want to try and do that on the bases and stuff to make it look like it's a fresh kind of laser mark or lightsaber mark. My music in the background has stopped. Continue watching. Um, I'm gonna let the metals dry on them, and when that's drying, I'm gonna go about painting the rest of the skin on these guys. Soltech green, I think, is such a good color because you can use it in blues, you can use it in greens. I think it was the End of Imagination a few years ago had a scheme with this. It was Dark Reaper, this, and Games Workshop Celestial Grey, which may as well have been a texture paint. It was that thick. And if you used your airbrush just right with these colours, it made amazing looking space hulls. And I had space hulls at the time. I had like a Land Raider and 20 guys, or 5 Terminators or something. Could have even been 10 guys. But I tried to do it so many times and just couldn't get it. Wasn't good enough with an airbrush at the time and gave up. So that Land Raider's been repainted now, and it's going to be a Dead Company Land Raider for the Crusade game. So for the skin, it's Imperial Blue for the base, and then Soltech Green for the force highlight is what I'm doing. And once that's done, then I'll use a little bit of Baharok Blue, and depending on how it looks, I might go back in with like a really thin brush because these have like it's kind of like what Robert Downey or what Iron Man had in his neck in the Avengers when the Iron Man suits are killing them. It's like little lines and stuff, so I might just pick them out to make them look, really in your face, like they've got electricity coursing through them. Let's try and find the Imperial Blue. I would have probably done with resetting the palette, but I don't like wasting the sheets. I should do the job. I always keep an emergency stash of water up here at the top of my painting when I'm using it. Just make sure that the water you keep for doing this is way separate to your actual drinking water because this is probably up here about 18 months at this stage. Just tip that down a bit. I'm not too worried about being particular at the minute because I still have to tidy up, highlight the black. It's got to get gold trim. Still need to highlight up the flesh a little bit more. So this is just a quick highlight, and then I'll tidy it up now at the next round. And I just need to be careful when I go in to do it that I don't, when I'm washing the metals, I don't overdo it onto the skin because that will mess it up a good bit on me. I can understand. I've said it before when I was painting Space Marines like heroes and stuff. Like look at that there. I'm after getting blue on the back of the spear. You can kind of see it there. It's more focused on my hands. I might as well just wash it off instead of trying to show you. Yeah, I can really understand why some people use sub-assemblies for painting when I'm dealing with stuff like this because it's an absolute nightmare to get around some of the mechanicus poles, especially on the heroes. You put them together and then you're like, right, I can see that that whole bit in there didn't get hit with primer, but how am I doing that? And then you're looking at pulling arms or legs or cloaks apart to try and get in at it. Probably could have just jumped straight to Soltech on this, to be honest, and it would have definitely sped up the process for me. I was trying to blend it up a little bit quicker, but they are only tabletop troops, they're not characters, so they don't really need that level of attention. I've been listening to Adeptus Ridiculous, thanks to one of the lads I used to work with, introduced me to the podcast, and Friday, driving home from work, I finally got up to date with them. I think they released an episode on Thursday, and I was on the second last episode on Thursday, so finished that off Thursday into Friday, and then finished the High Point episode, which is the last one that they're after doing. Really enjoyed the podcast. DK and Bricky are two pretty funny guys. Like it's 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 been an enjoyable experience. But I was like, right, what do I do now? And I went back into Spotify and I just typed in Warhammer and it came up. I think it's Lorehammer, and I was like, I remember listening to this before. I have a lot of stuff to get through on this, so just hop back on that and started listening to more lore about Primarchs and other bits and bobs again. It's the closest thing I can get to 40k when I'm driving up and down to work. I definitely set the ambitions too high when I started this stream, thinking that I was going to get this squad done and the Cerberus Raiders. I thought I'd do like maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then have the squad done and start on the next one. Or maybe I'm just talking too much crap and it slowed me down. I hate these guys' faces. Some of them have their eyes like stitched closed. So it's got like an X on their eye or rope. It's awful heads. This guy's lost his head somewhere. I absolutely folded myself in half trying to get into where I normally work with a box of these models in my hand, and that's why the tank is broke, the Onocopter's broke. I've done a lot of repairs already, but we'll just say it's not a safe layout to the area. If anyone's seen it, they'll know how bad it is. Like the more time I just spend in the hobby, the more stuff I accumulate. Like I went out today and bought 3 boxes to put models in, and I know nothing about it, so I just have 3 boxes sitting there and models spread across every flat surface imaginable. And what I found is the Games Workshop game boxes. So like the Leviathan box, you get obviously the top and the bottom, but if you stack them diagonally, they stack up pretty well. So they're just I just have stacks of boxes everywhere with like models and projects half done, half not done. Like some stuff built. Um, I bought Dante when he came out. Amazing model. Massive diehard Blood Angels fan. Done nothing with the model. Intention A1. Effort 0. Look at that. I just stuck rookie. An absolute rookie. I was on Warhammer Plus the other day watching the new animation show where the Ultramarines go mad, screaming and chopping up small chunks of ruins with his chainsaw because he can't knock down the death mark, and the death mark just kills him. Interesting stuff going on there with the Necron character that's like I don't know, extracting DNA or energy or some kind of something out of the spoilers if you haven't. I'll say it now, spoilers if you haven't actually watched the new Warhammer animation. I think it's Illuminar Zereth is like extracting, I don't know, life essence or something out of the Imperial Guardsmen that he's trapped or captured. But then like the sisters fighting off zombie Krieg and zombie guardsmen, and I don't know if he's turning them into zombies or if there's, I think mind shackle scarabs is what I'm thinking, but I don't know. When the Deathmark shot the Space Marine, it was like he was almost trying to resist whatever it was taking him over, and then he just died. The Necron stuff is interesting, and considering we waited so long for this animation, I think they previewed it last year at one of the big cons. It's about time they put it out, and then the boys turned to me and they were like, "Oh, have you checked out the animation?" I was like, "No, I haven't had a look at it yet. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it." Didn't watch it for a couple of days because I went through the whole debacle of trying to secure my Warhammer Plus Year Two model, where if you do it on your phone, it doesn't it doesn't work basically because what happens is you're logging into the Warhammer Plus website, and then it gives you the prompts to order your year two model. So I was like, grand, I'm gonna get the World Eater Tournaminator because I play 40k, one 40k models. And it was like, grand, you need to do this. And I was like, grand. So click the order or something, put it into me basket, went to pay for it. It was like 31.50. I was like, that's not happening. It's like, no way. Email customer care, and they come back to me. It's like, can you please send a screenshot to your issue? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to explain the whole thing to you. And now I was like, right, logged in the computer, had to reset my password because it wouldn't accept it, even though it's the exact same as what it was that logged me in on the phone. Went in, and what was happening was when it was giving me the prompt to order now, and I clicked it, it opened the Games Workshop web store page, but it didn't keep me logged in from the Warhammer Plus one, so it was trying to charge me full price for it. So clicked it, logged in, went back, clicked it again, and it, because I'd logged in onto the web store, it automatically done it, and it went through for free. And I was like, great, grand, that's that done. And then I was like, do I just go down the rabbit hole of watching Blood Angels again? Or Angels of Death, I think it's called, because I know there's a new season of that coming. And just feed into the Black Rage, and it's another absolutely amazing show. Also have Mephiston, not painted. Um, Good intentions there as well. I think I have Brother Corbulo, I have the Sanguinar, I have Astarat, the official model, and then one of my friends that sadly departed Ireland and moved back to Spain gave me a 3D printed Astarat. It's kind of like a Primaris Astarat who has his axe pulled back over his head as he's about to chop the head off a Tyrant Warrior on his base. Absolutely deadly model. And then obviously I have the Shycast one as well because there's no fine cast, only Shycast. Brother Corbulo, I got the Blood Angel Pacific Librarian and Terminator armor. These are all models I bought years ago, and I just have them. I haven't really got that far in them. Brother Corbulo, Astarat, Sanguinar. I think the only one I haven't got, Captain Tycho is one of them actually. Never got Captain Tycho. And Lamartes. I love Lamartes. Lamartes just, he was one of the reasons I got into Blood Angels. We're going back to 6th edition. I was reading stuff on Lamartes in 6th edition. Still haven't got him. Had a Sanguinar before. Don't actually know what I done with it. I think I sold it. I was trying to get out of 40k for ages because I couldn't keep up with the codex creep. Sank loads of money and time into War Machine and Hordes, and now like I was almost faction complete on I think 3 armies, and you basically can't use them anymore because it's a new game. So at least now Games Workshop's like you can use your attack bike as an ATV invader or something, or they give you options to do it. There's none of that in the War Machine Horde stuff. So I think I played one game of Mark 4, and the rules were pretty bonkers, and I won a game that I shouldn't have won and made someone a little salty, which was understandable. But the guy I was playing, like, we have a great relationship, so he was just more annoyed at the fact that the rules meant that I could do what I done. Miss playing War Machine, but I don't have the time for it anymore. Like, Shatterpoint is great because you can get a game in 2 hours from setup to packing up, walking out the door. It's 2 hours. Like, it's great. It's a really good game, really fun game. Um, Obviously 40k is great, but like when you get the chance to play 40k, you want to bring out all your big toys, your new painted stuff. You want to get as many models out on the table as you can. I mean, you're playing Space Marines with rerolls and out the moment and all this other stuff. Like, it really does add time to the game. So it's easier for me to play a game of Shatterpoint and get home that little bit earlier and get painting done than it is to play 40k. Because I'm trying to maximize the use of my time for hobbying. But there's just so much 40k stuff I want to do. It's tough. Like, I want to play Tau, I want to play Blood Angels, I want to play Space Sharks, I want to develop Space Sharks more. I have Tiberios the Red Wake. Now, this is maybe a year ago I got Tiberios, maybe 2 years ago, and now he's still the old scale Terminators, and he's meant to be the biggest Terminator that there ever was. So, I want to get him painted up, and I don't know. I was debating whether or not to use the new Terminator models to try and convert them up. I was like, it's just such a cool model. Don't really want to. I just need to try and find a way to make him more imposing, make it look like that he is actually the same size as a Dreadnought, or something along those lines. And for the Tau, I got the new Shadow Sun like last year. I want to say maybe 2 years ago. Haven't done anything with her. New Farsight model, ordered them, sell GW stock stuff. They could only sell so much, and it ran out. So by the time it got to my order, I didn't actually get it. And I was talking to one of the lads about it, and he was like, "Oh, I know a place where you can get it for €15, and it's a 3D print file that's absolutely immaculate and looks exactly like it's." I think the only difference is it doesn't have the petals on the cherry blossom on the base. So I have a 3D one of them. Came with extra torsos and stuff as well, which is cool because then you can use it for basing. What else is going on? Hobby wise. SharePoint's just kind of been the big thing at the minute. Um, Playing the Crusade game was good. I love the idea of the index cards for 40k. They have all the information on it, because Shatterpoint has a similar system where it's like the unit card, and on one side it's a piece of art with like the cost and how many squad points they can take with them and something, and then on the other side it's like the rules of that card. So I really like the idea of the index cards. Love that idea as well from playing War Machine and Hordes. It was like, here's 9 cards for your 75 point list, like, go have fun. Instead of paying €30 for a codex that'll be outdated in about 3 months, because the rules to be too overpowered on purpose to sell codexes and then pull it back so that you know. Anyway, that's a conversation for a different time. But I was actually looking for the Blood Angels index cards and watched a few videos on YouTube, and everyone's like, "No, there's no point. They've already errated everything. Everything's already changed, and the rules in the cards don't even line up with what's there." Excuse me, some of the cards are out of stock, getting reprinted, and by the time they are going to be reprinted, like, the rules that are on them are already like 3 renditions out of date and stuff. I was like, oh man. I'm hoping that when GW does decide to integrate the free app, like army app builder that they have, into Warhammer Plus, that it's updated regularly with the rules, and it's not going to be a case of, oh, you have to pay X amount a year to have the updates coming in regularly. You know what I mean? Only time will tell. But for the Crusade thing, like, I had someone sent me on the PDF for the Blood Angels cards, and I was reading through them one of the days, and I was like, there was something like a chaplain could be attached to. There was an issue we had with attaching a chaplain with a jump pack to a unit at that company, because the Blood Angel specific card in the Warhammer app says you can't, but the index cards that I had from like 3 renditions ago, from since 10th edition's drop, said you could, and I was like, What the like, the game isn't even out that long, lads. It's out like 3 months or something, and this is the kind of crap that I'm dealing with already. So I would like a codex, specifically for Blood Angels first, and then after that, Tau and Gene Stealer Cult in a respective time frame. Surprised that Gene Stealer Cult didn't come back to back with the Tyranids after the Tyranids getting such a big range refresh. But I suppose I don't really want the limelight coming away from the Tyranids, so that could be why, but might have been a good opportunity to release like new Broodlord or something just off the back of the big new Tyranid release. With the changes to transports and Primaris and all, I was super hyped to use all the Horus tanks I've mentioned earlier on in the video in 40k, like to run just Terminators and Gravis up the board. I still can't remember what the Force Warhammer magazine subscription is called. That's annoying me. But might have a six aggressors. I think I have six eradicators. I think Eradicator is the Gravis one. Eliminator is the snipers, yeah. So like I have a lot of Gravis stuff that I want to use. I got heavy intercessors. Um, I wanted to put all them in a Spartan and just charge it up the board of six last cannon shots. I think it is, because the last cannon, I don't know if it counts as two twin linked or if it just counts as shots for it. But now it's all legend stuff, and it's like, man, I've got like three Leviathan dreadnoughts. I've got contemptors. I've got tanks out the door, and you're after just completely cutting that out for everyone by what you've done. Took that a bit salty. Not that it's going to stop me playing 40k. I'll just play it, and pay the extra stuff to use them. But like, after the amount of stuff that was released for Horus Heresy that everyone was using in 40k, like it was just a bit rough of a decision I think the GW made in doing that. Just checking the stream here to make sure it's running all right. That's the that's the good juice gone. I'm just gonna mute this for a second and adjust the headset. Accidentally pulled the headset out of the frame on it. Skin is nearly done, so by the time the skin is done, I might look at washing the metals, and then no, I won't, because I have to paint gold on it and I need to wash the gold. Okay, so onwards with the skin. Tech and Barrock Blue. I might cut this stream either at the hour and a half mark or the 2 hour mark, depending. I just don't want it to be too long if anyone wants to go back and watch it, or anyone touches base at the channel afterwards and sees a 2 hour video of me absolutely rambling. Don't want to put them off sticking around. So, paint wise, before we go on, we are looking at an hour and 21 minutes of painting so far today, which isn't too bad. Onwards with the skin. I want to look at getting the 3D printer set up because I think I might have either 25 to 50 assault intercessors, and with the new assault intercessors coming out, which are basically just assault intercessors models with jump packs, Primaris jump packs added, I'm probably going to look at just 3D printing myself a load of jump packs. I have some nice angel wing ones that I used on my, I think it's a Centurion I made for Horus Heresy. He's got dual lightning claws. It was just one of the Praetors from the Age of Darkness box, and what I done was I cut at the elbow on two Terminator Power Fists, sorry, Lightning Claws, attached that on at the where I'd cut the elbow off a normal arm and gave him two lightning claws. And then I gave him this jump pack. So it's got like it's like a normal jump pack, but it's got wings coming out the side of it. So it's pretty cool. I'm gonna want to print a good few of them because even just for that company and stuff, I years ago I tried to magnetize backpacks and jump packs on that company, and it did not work. So some of the older stuff I have will need to be repainted and repaired and maybe upscaled a bit, but I'm not going to go out and buy an assault intercessor kit that just comes with a jump pack and a couple of extra tassels on belts and stuff and bullets. I've enough pouches and bits and bobs from me time in collecting Space Marines. I'm sure I could do that stuff up myself. So that'll give me some new assault infantry. The new assault captain, not a great model in my opinion. Could have done a lot more at that. Could have had him doing something else other than matching the poses of the guys. I think the only real difference that they have with the new assault intercessor jump packs coming out is the fact that they're jumping off stupid things like there's a pipe sticking out of the ground, and I'm a 3-ton space marine that's going to kick off that to launch myself into space with a jump pack. Need them a bit more realistic than that. The Blood Angels Dawnbreaker unit from Forge World, which is quite expensive, comes with the stupid flying stands that come with the Inceptors. I absolutely hate them flying stands. So what I done was I built up bases to make it look like they were either skittering around or they were like standing on the edge of like broken concrete, getting ready to jump off as if they were on the ground fighting, and now they're jumping off into something else, rather than them doing like kung fu kicks in midair with giant jump packs on. Wasn't easy, but I just hate them stands. Now look, with me new army storage method probably work out okay because once you glue the stand in um, and magnetize the base, you're laughing. The only problem is if they come off the stand when you're moving the case around, they are going to wipe everything else out that's around them because they've really long spears and big bulky jump packs and stuff. You can see there's three people watching in the background there. Appreciate you checking in. Hopefully you haven't gone insane listening to me rambling there for the last while. Do appreciate you sticking around. An hour and 23 minutes in by the looks of it. Shows you that like in an hour and 23 minutes we painted skin and base layers of metal. Like it's hard to speed paint unless you're using actual speed paints. I like the effects of them, but I just don't have a couple of €100 to drop into investing in a new paint set. So I'm just trying to speed up the way I do it and speed up my brush control, but do it the old fashioned way. Just practice, practice, practice to get faster. Speed paints are great now. Did enjoy the one I got, which is this one. It wasn't even Ball Red. It's Doomfire Magenta. Way off. I see a lot of people getting through stuff with them, and a lot of people painting Shatterpoint are using them because it gives you great finished models. But I just get a certain enjoyment out of like blending up the highlights on a cloak and sitting back after a while and looking at it and going, "That's absolutely crap," and then starting again and getting it right. You know, I can see one or two areas I've missed with the bronze now when I'm going back over this. I didn't get the connector studs or inputs in his gloves on this guy. One thing I'll not miss painting is mechanicus infantry. It's also why I haven't finished painting my Gene Stealer cult infantry. I think I, I could potentially have 100 neophytes with all the stuff that I got for it. So like I've stuff from Kill Team. Um, what did I get rid of? I got rid of Dark Uprising and ended up with another box of Dark Uprising. So I've all the terrain that came with the Force Kill Team box. I've all that stuff there as well, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I look forward to painting my terrain and getting like a consistent team across the board. But it's like, do I paint 600 Gene Stealer Cult Neophytes? Um, or do I just go ahead and get terrain painted up and then just go back to completely ignoring the fact that I have 600 Neophytes that require painting? When I done the Tau stuff years ago, I think I've 20 or maybe 40 Fire Warriors as well. That was a bit of a slog because I'm trying to give them different squad colorings to know which guys belong to which squad. So I didn't want to just have 40 bland Fire Warriors and pick the Mitch. So some of them have purple shoulder pads, some of them have grey, green, blue. I think there's a red. That was enough of an infantry slog for me. I didn't need to do it again. And then coming up on me Instagram memories was a white Imperial Guard force I painted a couple of years back, maybe 2 years back. And looking back on it now, it's like if I was doing that now, I would be buying speed paint because what I done was I painted them like a light grey, washed them with blue, and then glazed white highlights onto it. Absolutely horrendous thing to be doing. It took me forever. Almost done. Skin, just this guy here, and then one more guy, and we're done the skin, and we might look at wrapping it up then. So we're coming up on the hour and a half mark now. Appreciate everyone that has stopped by and had a quick glance at what's going on. If there's anyone watching it after the fact, then you've made it this far, fair play. Appreciate the support. That's that one done. I will. I'll keep working on this off stream anyway. Try and get them done. Get some more work sunk into them tonight. If I could get them finished tonight, I'd be happy enough, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to painting some vehicles for a change, rather than just dudes, and then more dudes, and then more dudes. Almost there. Okay, I think that is gonna do it. Thanks to anyone that stopped by. Appreciate the support. Leave a comment down below if something you'd like to see more of, or if you enjoyed it, or if you have any feedback, that would be appreciated. And see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.